for the things that we know are good that we forget.
For sure, for sure. So
Ooh, Vancouver
let's
Island. Who is coming from Vancouver Island? Did I see that on the chat?
you did.
I
Connie is
did,
in.
Connie.
Tamales. Tamales. I don't know where tamales is.
Lots of breathing, Miyoko says. That's great.
Yeah, breathing is good. Yeah, and thank you, Elena. Yep. So we will get started. North Carolina mountains. It's gotta be gorgeous. Oh my goodness, what to think about?
Powdered
Okay.
plaque
Oh well,
off.
we didn't start yet,
Oh,
so let's
okay.
get
Okay.
started.
You're right. You're right. Get us started.
Let's get started. So everybody, welcome back to the Friday. It's last Friday of the month, Holistic Actions Q&A webinars where we'll help support you all and answer any questions relating to your animal's balance in order to get them to be as good as they can be. And Dr. Christina, do you want to start off with plaque off?
Sure. So, for teeth, the first step with teeth is we want to feed a fresh food diet. Sometimes just feeding a fresh food diet is all we need to do to have pearly white, wonderful teeth. Number two is that we need to feed a fresh food diet that has some big
Wednesday, May
chunk.
27th, Supreme Justice RFK Jr. annihilates Big Pharma in historic Supreme Court shockwave.
Can you mute
Dark
mRNA
everybody,
time,
Jeff?
vaccine
but
damage
it
declared
looks
irreparable.
like it's
Nuremberg
not.
Code.
Oh, there we go.
Lost in, oh, there we go. That was Lost in
I
Space.
got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So number two is we need to feed something. This is for whether it's dogs or cats. We need to feed something that has big chunks in it so that they sink their teeth into it. And as they do that, it cleans the teeth naturally. One person I knew had 3 or 4 big dogs, and every once in a while, one only of the dogs would start developing some tartar on the teeth. And so then she would give that dog some turkey necks for 3 days. And she had to hold them because the dog would just swallow the whole thing. And he'd chew on turkey necks for 3 days, and the tartar would be gone, the brown would be gone, and everything would be fine. So it's individual. Then the next is there are many things, many products like plaque off. Well, let me back off. Then the third one, which one of our speakers talked about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, is that all you need to do to clean teeth is your finger, not with a finger cot on it, not with a piece of cotton or gauze pad, not with dog cat toothpaste, just your finger and go. After that, the next time I saw my dentist, I said, "Is that all I need?" And she said, "Well, except for flossing between your teeth." But she said, if every time you eat, you do this, you're really cleaning off your teeth. So that's step number 3. Oh, but my animal won't let me do that. Well, you need to train your animal to love you doing everything to them and have it be something that they just love doing. So that's something we emphasize a lot. Cleaning ears, cleaning teeth, opening the mouth, looking down the throat, taking the temperature, rolling on the back, looking at the belly, trimming the toenails, etc. Then now we get into the products. There are products you put in the water. There are products you wipe on the teeth. There are essential oils. There are, nutritional thingies. There are toothbrushes. So then you're into that area. So, Bev, the first thing I would say is feed fresh food. Make sure you're feeding some big chunks, part of at least a couple of times a week. And if that's not working, you could try the powdered plaque off. So the way I do it is you try something for about a month, unless there's negatives, and then you move on to try something different. And the one I guess I didn't cover is sometimes everything you do, it just seems like it's a dog or a cat that seems to be building up tartar. So that means that's an imbalance in the vital force. And what you need to be doing is rebalancing the vital force with homeopathy or really great Chinese medicine. I've actually had some animals where their teeth, these were dogs, their teeth seemed to get healthier after they had some chiropractic for a year. They were dealing with another issue, but a side effect was because chiropractic, especially network chiropractic, is rebalancing the energy field as well. So there is no one particular approach to doing that. Okay, so what's next? Mary Kennedy. Well, hello. Yes. Well, I'm now in Florida. Okay, so Karen. Um, okay, Dr. Jeff, you get to answer that one. Just finished 30 days of doxycycline for Lyme's. Should I have the titer redone to determine if the Borrelia is within acceptable limits? So I'm going to start it just by saying when you have animals that are really healthy, they're less likely to get any of the problems, any of the infections that you can get from ticks. And there just was an article in the conventional magazine, in the conventional vet magazine, about Ehrlichia being found in a tick in Connecticut, and or something that wasn't normally in Connecticut. And the point is, keep your dogs healthy, and then they're less likely to get any of it. If there's no symptoms, we don't usually recommend doxycycline. But now, Dr. Jeff, if you can add to that, would be great.
Well, Christina, I've got no thoughts about Lyme, tick-borne diseases, or any infection at all. So I
Testing,
don't know. I
testing.
don't know. Yeah, yeah. Just go to your vet and do whatever they say. No. In reality, I guess my first question would be why he was on Doxy. You say for Lyme now, and I'm sorry, either
So
you can
conventionally, they say,
unmat.
they automatically do doxy. And we're saying,
No, they don't
oh, they
actually.
don't?
That's no, that
Oh,
was
okay.
my question is,
Oh.
was it for a Lyme screening test that your vet does once a year or every 2 years? Was it for a high C6? Was it for symptoms? Oh, what was
Can
going
you unmute
on?
yourself, Karen?
Yeah, hi Jeff. Hey,
Yeah,
I think the
hi.
reason why the vet put him on that is because he had 105 fever and had a lot of symptoms and was dehydrated and they had to hospitalize him.
Mm.
They ran his titer, it was really high, so they said some kind of infection was going on. So they wanted to put him on that. They thought that was the most appropriate.
Got it, got it, got it. And do you know what the C6 number was when they ran that?
No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, and do you know that he responded really fast to what they did? Was he better by the next day, for example?
Well,
'Cause that's,
his fever went down to 102 overnight. And he was able to come out of the hospital within 24 hours, but he was wiped out and fatigued for about 2 weeks.
yeah, well, Doxy alone will do that as well. But yeah, I mean, one of the hallmarks of real Lyme, real acute Lyme, is the real rapid response, like you described. When I had Lyme, I was 105 fever and everything, and by the next day, I was back on the tennis court and actually doing well after only homeopathy. But regardless of what you use, I mean, when I was a conventional vet, the very first case of Lyme I saw, I gave an injection of amoxicillin before I left. I was a house call vet, and the dog was better within 20 minutes before I left, and she was crippled when I walked in. So should you redo his C6 30 days of doxy? No, they say conventionally you've got to give it 6 months before you reject the titer. So, to get more detail about, your dog's age and history and, how to be following up would be really my more complete answer. But no, in general, they say 6 months, you would expect about a 50% decline in titer in 6 months.
Okay.
But really, what I would be most concerned with is how his beam is. Is he back to normal in all
Yeah,
ways?
he's feeling much better. We go for multiple walks during the day. He's eating healthy again. For a while there, they had him on a very bland,
Mhm.
canned diet, Hill's diet, but I tend to feed him cooked, grass-fed meat and organs and organic vegetables. So
Great,
he's gone back to eating that.
great, great. You may want to think about something like Gus's gut, which is a bunch of fermented vegetables that can, combat the
Okay.
the the microbiome disruption that came from the doxycycline.
Yeah, I just started him on Megaspore and Phytospore.
Perfect. And when you run out, go to a different one.
Okay.
Rotation, variety really is the spice of life.
Okay. All right.
So,
And then the other thing is the fact, that symptoms even appeared means that probably there's an underlying energy imbalance. And
Mhm.
so be sure that you're working with everything. So be keeping a journal, tracking the beam, tracking the early warning signs, making sure you're doing chiropractic, acupuncture, homeopathy, something along that line, that you're doing the happiness protocol. Sounds like you are with the walks and everything. And so for that, and one of the other questions in terms of what can be done for vomiting and diarrhea, and is sometimes you need to be looking from the deeper, you really need to be focused their whole life on making sure you continually tweak everything to keep each of us as healthy as we possibly can be and keep trying new things. So
Mhm.
continue with the tick. Pamela said, my vet here said there's a traveling tick that jumps off the bobcats in my area and can carry a lethal disease. That if my cats get this infected tick, it is a quickly lethal disease. So number one, what I just said, keep the cat healthy. Number two, Jeff.
oh, well, you should be wary of everything in life, but you also should be working on resilience, which will help with those lethal infections. But no, I would go back to what I said about tick-borne diseases. Really more about the inner balance or the inner terrain, because our immune systems are able to deal with these infections better than any drug can do it. And the reason we're seeing more and more of these infections recently is because our animals' immune balance is getting worse.
Friends here. Help her. Thank you.
Now, I love the answers that we've been getting for teeth cleaning and training animals, because one said that she can't get behind in her chihuahua's mouth. And so it really is a matter of training them. So Miyoko said Deb Jones has great training webinars. And so we've got links to that. The key is patiently training using rewards, whatever the rewards are for your dog, whether it's cuddling, playing, food, and you train them to love everything, and you just slow increments to get to it. And sometimes your finger rather than a toothbrush may be more tolerable. Then again, it may not. Okay. So Murph, can you go live? Murph's cat is stress grooming, and she's always offered fresh. She's typical cat with being sort of, she likes some things and not other things. My question for you, Murph, is so what kind of stress is in your life at the moment that's having your cat do stress grooming?
Well, that's kind of a personal question.
It
I mean,
is, it
yeah,
is, but I
so
also know
maybe
Murph.
just say that.
I
How you,
also know Murph,
oh,
so
okay.
she may not be able to get on. So the thing is, anytime we have any behavioral problems going on with our animals, we need to look in our lives and see what's going on. A move, lots of foster cats coming through, one that comes through that isn't that good, a stray one from in the neighborhood that's causing some hassle, and then look to all of the different modalities. And I know for Murph particularly, she's great with crystals and I think flower essences, maybe essential oils. So this is where everybody listening to this, if you're new to holistic particularly, but even maybe you've tried food changes and that's it, everybody needs to learn some energetic healing methods. So healing methods like, for instance, stress grooming, um, Tellington Tea Touch would be great. Eden Energy Medicine would work, Reiki, Bingston Method, Web, Whole Energy Body Balance. Any one of these, and learn two or three. Find the one that works the best for you and do them preventatively when there's no problems. Just have it be part of you meditate every day, you meditate with your animals every day, that type of thing. That's one of the least expensive, i.e., free things that you can do every day. And then when you notice symptoms, then dig in. In terms of feeding, it really comes and goes. And if she loves the freeze-dried hearts, a lot of cats do like those freeze-dried hearts. And so you can use those, grind them up, and add them or roll any other food into it that you want, like a piece of chicken, try a piece of chicken thigh. But also we need to go with what they seem to want, because often they seem to know a lot. Okay, Renee. Izzy has eaten raw all of her life. She's on also on Origin brand kibble. Comment on Origin brand kibble. Is it a kibble or freeze dried? I would not do even Origin brand. I would never do a kibble, especially with a cat, but not even for dogs. We want to avoid any kind of processed food. The very best is you go buy it for yourself and you buy it for your dog or cat at the same time. Same quality, same location, whatever you like. And then you have to tweak it a little bit. You may not eat heart meat or liver meat or tongue, and your dog or cat would. And so then you have to buy a few extra ingredients for your dog or cat, but the same quality is the best. And it can be a challenge with cats, absolutely. Dr. Hovey, one of our faculty members, her website is littlebigcat.com. And that's a great place to go for any of you with cats. She has a book on feeding cats there, an ebook, and lots of comments that can help. So Izzy has had occasional vomiting, went to the vet, and she got sub-Qs B12 and a shot of Serenia. So this is sort of a longer question. So first off, Renee, we need to, Renee, can you become live? Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
So it says Renee intuitive. Are you an intuitive?
Yes, I am. Animal
Great.
communicator, and I also work with humans.
And are you good with, not everybody is, so are you good working with your own animals?
Yes,
Okay,
I have
because
to say yes.
not all intuitives are.
I know.
So what's going on?
So,
Not what they told you,
not with the,
what you're
so
picking up.
exactly. Izzy is a real trooper. She's 17 years old. She turned 17 in March. In the past 2 years, there's been a lot of change. So, we've lived in Northern California for like 36 years. Last year, I went to Colorado for a year, father family stuff. Izzy was poisoned, almost died. We didn't know that she was poisoned until Dad said, "Oh, by the way, I sprayed Roundup." So, the vet, I have a holistic vet in Washington State, and we got her detoxed. So she's been really well. So about 2 months ago, she started one day she was vomiting pink foam. So there was blood and something was happening, and I have not changed anything in her food. So I took her to the vet, he did blood work and gave her, her sub-Qs, and she was much better. But I've noticed now that about every 2 weeks since then, she'll have a bout of where she does not feel good. So I check in with myself where I'm at. Got a lot of upheaval right now. She could be mirroring something.
When you tune into her body, what are you picking up? And this is for everybody who's listening, you can do this by contacting somebody. So when we talk about creating your healthcare team, we really want you to have access to hands-on veterinary care, and that might be a conventional vet. We have an article, how to find a veterinarian under holisticactions.com/select. And so if you have a holistic local, that's great. But if you don't, like she was in Washington, in California, or that was up in Washington, so that was virtual. If you don't, you then have a local conventional and a remote virtual homeopathic, acupuncture, whatever. And then you create whoever else you need on your team. Could be groomers and trainers and behaviorists and all sorts of different people. And I recommend that everybody have an intuitive on their team and that they go to the best the veterinarian with the most training in a variety of modalities at least once a year. If you have a dog, make it an overnight trip if you have to go that far. Really, once a year, get palpated, but twice a year, check in with the intuitive and find out, let them do a body scan and see what's going on. And that can usually be done virtually. So now I'm doing that conversation that you would be having sort of with the intuitive. So, okay, so what did you pick up
So,
on her?
there is, how do I say this to put it into words? It feels like it's like, when is my time going to happen? Like, when is my time going to happen? And so I have to sit with that. And
Yes.
because of the past couple of years, like her brother, she had a brother, they were litter mates. And there was an emotional upheaval, and it turned out he got a tumor, and so we dealt with that, and he
So
was
she
like,
wants your time, is what you're
and
saying.
now she wants my time because
Can you give it to her?
there were four
Can-
of us, the cats, and now
Yep.
it's just her. And so we've traveled. When I say she's a trooper, we drove from Northern California to
We
Colorado.
don't have time for long
Okay.
stories here, Renee. We have to really keep this down tight.
Okay. So she's like, when's my time?
Okay, so that's what she said. Did you pick up anything physically going on yourself?
Oh, in myself?
No, in her. Did
in
you
her.
yourself pick up anything in her?
Yeah, I pick up that there's like an exhaustion.
Okay. So definitely happiness protocol. And one of our members said her cat is dealing with lumps, and she noticed the cat was not participating very much and was being sort of lethargic. And she's doing holistic with the lumps. And so she remembered the happiness protocol that we teach. And all she did was change so that every time she walks through a room, if the cat's in the room, she takes an extra 1 minute because she's a busy lady, and she stops and talks to the cat and pets the cat. Immediately, the cat starts purring. And the second was, if the cat was in the kitchen rubbing around her feet, she would lean over and talk to the cat. And within 2 days, the cat was 100% eating, participating in the household, and feeling great. And Bernie Siegel tells stories of love where he was ready to the vet said, euthanize your dog. The family said, bring him home and we'll love him. and he lived another 4 years. So I think you probably know what to do. And then, of course, you want to be communicating with who's your holistic vet in Washington State? Okay.
Wolf, Dr. Wolf.
Okay, Dr.
Dr.
Wolf. Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely you want to check with that. But run
So
through
there is one thing that I do want to add that I did for
Yep.
both she and I, because she's older now, I don't want to let her outside. Where we live now, there's wildlife everywhere. So I bought us an earthing mat. So she's got her own pillow and I've got my
Great.
mat. I take her outside. She doesn't want to get on the ground. So I hold her barefoot and that shifts the energy. I
Great.
can tell that that works
So
for her.
everybody listen to that. That's a good thing. You can all do that, except for one cat, except for a cat who's so darn scared of going outside that you can't even hold them outside. But then work on that. Do that step by step to get them outside, and you can just hold them and see if you can tempt her, talk to her, and find out if there's a way you could get her to actually interact with the earth. That dirt is good microbiome for her as well.
She's always been an indoor-outdoor cat, but when she had that experience
Right.
last
I
year,
know. But so it's to work with that. And 17, while it's good, I mean, we have cats living, we have one I know of to 38, one to 34, late 20s. So you can really, your cats can live a long time. Okay, moving on.
Thank you.
Hopefully everybody learned some good extra thoughts from that. Remember, everybody, we've got some good stuff, links that are in the chat. The way you save the chat is to click on depends on what device you're using, but one of the ways is click on the 3 buttons and then it says save chat. So that works well. Somebody is talking in the background and not muting themselves. If they would please mute themselves if you're talking, I appreciate it. Okay, ticks. No, never use Brevecto. Ever use Brevecto. So Pamela, if you think that, I mean, I would suggest you take the 101 course, which is free at Holistic Actions, and learn why we're saying that so strongly and the wonderful other alternatives that are available. So you definitely don't want to do that. We've seen serious problems with that. Skins.
I've just used
I'm
it
sorry.
once, and I've been a member of Holistic
Oh, good.
Actions for several years. This is
Okay.
actually my first time live on this
Oh,
call.
welcome. Glad you're here. Well, just, stay away from chemicals.
Okay, well, I'll post on the
Post on the
online
forum.
and see what else I can do.
Well,
be
we have,
great.
so number one, and this is for everybody, dogs and cats who are very healthy do not get fleas. They might get 1 or 2, but they just won't get fleas. And certainly it's good to be paying attention for fleas if you have indoor-outdoor animals. And then the second is there are a huge number, so they're a clue. They're just a symptom, a flea. If you're starting to see fleas, it's like, aha, the energy.
They've never had fleas, even
Right.
even when we lived in Florida
There you go.
and had
told-
dogs. The dogs would come in with fleas. They never had fleas.
Which is perfect. So that's a clue that they're out of balance. And if something like that happens, my cat came in one day at age 14 or something, covered in fleas. He was solid fleas and flea dirt. He must have gone into a den or something. He'd never had a flea in his life either. So I flea combed him outdoors, and I didn't bathe him. I just flea combed him, and maybe 500 fleas came off. And I'm exaggerating. And then over every day I flea combed him. So that was all I had to do because he was healthy. He just got super exposed. So maybe that was all you needed to do. But again, when you go to your conventional vet, you do have to question what they're saying.
Yeah,
But-
it's like I don't have I do have there's a vet chiropractor that I'm going to take I'm new in this
good.
area, but I am
Okay.
going to take my cat there, and I
Got
have
to keep checking it out. Keep checking out new
Yeah.
places. And remember, you can always work with homeopaths virtually.
Yeah.
And there's that great article about Select, finding veterinarians near you. So that's great, Pam. And there is my Kindle book is a version of the Kindle book is one of your member benefits. So Fleas Be Gone is at the Holistic Actions website. So you might want to download that.
Okay. Well, I was more concerned about the ticks that could be a lethal disease, and it's like,
Not worry about it. Just keep them
I
healthy
guess if you're all set, I will.
and check for
Yeah, no problem. Good working with you.
whoever is talking.
I
Would you
got it.
please mute yourself? You got it, Jeff. Thank you. So in terms of ticks, just check and don't panic. Okay,
yeah, they scared me.
Well, and so that's something for you to work on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, our fears, we talk about that in a lot of our seminars.
Mm-hmm.
So most, as long as they're resilient and you have your holistic healthcare team put together. I mean, it sounds like you might want to have a homeopath on your team as well, virtually, even if you, depending on how good the chiropractor is holistically. Some are better than others. So keep posting about your chiropractor, please, on the forum.
Okay,
So we
thank
know
you.
how you like him. Everybody here who's in Holistic Actions, please keep posting about who you like. And in the chat, if you're working with a great practitioner, put in where they are and that you really like them because they're holistic. Thank you, Pam.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Pam.
Jackson Galaxies, all of the Jackson Galaxies solutions, they're flower essences developed by Jean Hovey, and they're wonderful. And what you do, don't worry about the alcohol content. Just take a few drops of it and dilute it. Put 3 drops in 1/4 of a cup of water and then use that to dose with. You can do that with any. Bach flowers are all alcohol as well. And then Green Hope essences are, they have a skin soothe as well. And she uses red shiso, I think. And some animals don't like that as much. But it definitely can help. So don't worry about the alcohol that's in it. So loose knees in small dogs can absolutely be helped with homeopathy. I had a little small dog that the owner counted the patella, the kneecap luxated, went out of the joint.
I was just doing this live thing with.
Pam, could you mute yourself,
I
please?
thought I did. Sorry.
Thank you. No problem. So if you, it was going out 40 to 60 times per walk. And with 2 doses of homeopathic medicine, it never, I think it went out maybe once every month or something. And so you may need to do, at this point, the dog was suddenly limping, said it was a 3rd degree patella luxation and was in pain. So they recommended an anti-inflammatory and surgery. There's tons you can do, Sophie. So you can work with a homeopath, acupuncture, chiropractic, and physical therapy. There are wonderful, if you go to Lori McCauley, and there are many other really good physical therapists that are doing, veterinarians and non-veterinarians who are doing osteopathy, which can completely resolve these issues. And if it's to the point, maybe, you know, if you had a 25-year-old small dog that was developing this problem and got really bad, then you might need to do more continual work with them. But surgery is very unlikely to be needed. And if you're a member, post in the forum and we can get you more specifics with that. So combination homeopathic medicines, the problem with combinations is we don't know what works and what doesn't work. Now, you have an almost 15-year-old cat, and so what you want to do, so you have 2 choices here, Cindy. My recommendation is you begin to work with a homeopathic veterinarian. And if you want to make this, it doesn't really matter if you use filtered or distilled water. You know, I just don't do this. the bottom line is it's really not critical how you make it up. So can you unmute yourself, Cindy? I mean, I'm going to make an
Okay.
assumption. Are you there?
I think I'm unmuted.
Okay, now you are, yes. So are you purchasing 930C homeopathic pellets?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, I
and so all you have to do,
I still have from him. I haven't run out of that yet.
so you're
but-
doing it every day?
We started with every day, went down to every other day. Now it's every third day.
And if you don't do it for longer than that, do symptoms return?
I guess I was gonna try stretching it out, further and further. But
I
he's
would
got some-
try stretching it out. It may not even be needed. And then I would suggest that sometimes something like this works. Sometimes it does. Usually it tends to cause problems down the line. But I will admit, I have definitely seen sometimes when specific combinations like this have worked. It's hard to evaluate and know if it stops working, then it's like, well, now what? So I would do two things. I would try to press it out. If you do need to make one, just take a couple of pellets of each one and put them in a 1 ounce dropper bottle with maybe a dropper full of alcohol in it, grain alcohol in it, or vodka in it. And then whatever dilution you've been doing with him, then you would continue that. And I can't go into great details with you on that. And then the third thing is I would get a homeopathic veterinarian to be working with, because you may have
wish there was one in the area.
It doesn't matter. They work virtually. So if you
Correct.
go to holisticactions.com/select, read the entire article, and all of the websites you need to find care is there.
Okay.
And then for anybody, if you hear the suggestions here and you're not a member of Holistic Actions, so you can't post your questions in the forum, I do pet health coaching. And so you can contact me through my website, christinachambreau.com, and that's what I do. Dr. Jeff is still practicing as a homeopathic vet. I stopped being the vet and I'm doing the advising. So I can help you sort of understand things like this and or find veterinarians to work with. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Alpha gel. Yes, I've tried that. Didn't work very well for me. Not good, not bad. Thank you, Jenny. That was a great. Cindy, be sure you read Jenny's comment to your question. 16 to 17-year-old kitties. So we got a lot of old kitties on this call. And remember, like I said, we do see cats living easily into their mid to late 20s. So go for that for your goals. And Kim Hinneman is excellent. Kim does a ton. We've had at Holistic Actions, we've had a number of speakers on lasers, maybe 3 or 4. And so you might want to become a member of Holistic Actions and just go through the different modalities that we have there. And as I said, learning energy healing would be the thing that you could be doing at home with your kitty. And yeah, cats are picky with supplements and herbs. So I tend to use homeopathy, where it's very easy to give cats homeopathic medicines. And some of the supplements are pretty good at being tolerated by cats. So sometimes you just have to explore different ones. And again, with the sort of muscle atrophy, et cetera, definitely be looking at some of the physical therapy exercises you can do. That can make a big difference. And Lori McCauley is a veterinarian who, Optimal Pet Health, is that it? Maybe you can put that in, Dr. Jeff. Amy has episodes of vomiting. She was dosed homeopathically on the afternoon of the fourth day of vomiting. And there's been no more vomiting, but now she's not eating. Wrong remedy. So you definitely need to get back to the homeopath. And if you were the homeopath, you need to reevaluate, it said her vet. So, oh, well, maybe it's still you prescribing. You need to be speaking with somebody about that prescription. So it could be a close prescription, but it's immediately gotten rid of one symptom, but we've got a worse symptom or an equally bad symptom that's appeared. So that indicates usually suppression. We'd have to look at how she's feeling in general in terms of beam, if she's feeling better, et cetera. Oh, and then that lasted a week, and now she's shown interest in eating, offered some food, she devoured it. Now she's back to eating. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't read far enough. The overthought was a kidney episode. Well, you don't have kidney episodes per se. So I would, you need to be looking at all of the symptoms. The key here is make a list of every single symptom, not just what you're worried about. Go back over her life, look at the early warning signs of illness. If you're a member of Holistic Actions, you can download the Healthy Cat Journal. If you're not, you can purchase it at my site as an ebook. And you need to list all the symptoms, and then you gave the remedy. So I'm still not sure about that evaluation. It's back to eating. So if she is better in all ways, and the not eating was maybe an earlier symptom, it could have been the return of an old symptom. So there are a couple of things, but we'd have to know every symptom to be able to evaluate that, which of course we can't do on this call. And the fact that she's not excessively urinating and drinking, it doesn't sound like it's probably kidneys. Any other comment you want to make on that, Dr. Jeff?
I'm still trying to find the
Okay.
chat. Yeah. No.
It was AN in yellow.
And
Amy
what
N.
what time?
12:52. So I'm going to have to zip here a bit.
Yeah.
And then go down to the next one at 12:45 and talk about split heats.
Sure. Split heat. Mirko may be gone already, but yeah, as Dr. Christina asked us how old and what is the history, but in general, split heats are a sign that the energetic imbalance is off. It's really just another symptom that will respond beautifully to energetic treatments. But again, we'd need to know how old, were the heats ever normal? Is it an older unspayed dog that may have an ovarian cyst? Yeah. So we'll just call it, an early warning sign that something's going on.
And she's going to be spaying, so it might be good to put off spaying if possible for another maybe even year to watch and see if there are other symptoms going on and begin working with a homeopathic veterinarian. And there are some good ones in Canada. Wanda Vakaroth does virtual consulting, and she's in Calgary, but she does virtual. And it's
a 22-month-old dog, 30.
Yeah. So I would definitely be sure you're feeding a fresh food diet and doing all the really, really good things that you need. So did you get back up to the 12:52 AN for Amy?
But I'm not seeing it.
Takes a while to read it. Just to see if you think see what you think the evaluation of response
keep going while I read.
I will. So July, it can be Demodex without itchiness, but they can find demodectic mites so quickly with a skin scraping. And that doesn't spread. That's more of an immune problem. But sarcoptic mange is always itchy. So, and that's the one that spreads so much. So I wouldn't worry about that. You might want to try an animal intuitive. There's something for sure going on. I think, yeah, you're going to need to really keep digging in. Why don't you keep posting in the forum? I know July's a member, so keep posting in the forum. Stay on top of this with us, and let's see what else we can all come up with. And I'm sure you're working with Dr. Jeff. Elena, being fed good stuff, looks good. He lost his appetite, he vomited.
Hello, yeah.
His beam stands for everybody else, is behavior, energy, appetite, and mood. And basically, if their beam is good, you don't got to worry too much.
It's interesting because he had a very similar episode last year, maybe just at the end of June with the diarrhea. And I'm wondering if it's the treatment of, because I live in suburban area, so there is a lot of grass which treated with fertilizer.
Yep.
And he goes for grass crazy. And his poop, like half of normal poop, half of grass.
So one thing I would do that definitely could be true, I would I would try to put him in the car and drive him to places that aren't sprayed, to pastures or something. Do some research on that. Maybe feed him, grow some grass. They have grass growing for cats inside.
Yeah.
See if he'll eat grass indoors. You're feeding green juju. Maybe increase the amount of pureed vegetables you're giving, and do the variety of more vegetables. Maybe, that may be what he needs. It's hard to say, but I think you've done a good. See, this is something I want everyone to do, is when there are symptoms, look at the context and notice the pattern. So that was very good observation on your part. And but
he was good for a year almost. I didn't have any problem with GI for a year on the same food, on the same diet.
No, I understand. So that was good thinking on your part, and it could be something else. You'll have to keep track, keep it, that's why you keep a dog journal, is so that you can know what's been happening. So good job. Okay, thank you. Rachel, fleas be gone tag, all natural, last 2 to 5 years. Yep, a lot of them work. A lot of them, they work for some and not for others. The newest one I like is Tick Less, TICKLESS. Urinary incontinence. So Erica, number one, you're in a rescue. So please, we're having all of next month, starting this Monday, we're talking about rescues. So make sure everybody in charge of your rescue is there and comes to it.
I invited them today. I'm not sure if any of them were able to join, but I did invite them today, and that's good to know for June. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Starts Monday. And the homeopathic recommendation is work with a homeopathic vet. So in homeopathy, we do not give a remedy for a problem. There are over 7,000 remedies we select from to match to the individual animal. And one of the things that, so I doubt this would work, but it might be worth a try. Start putting a little bit of sea salt, into the dog's water. I have no idea why. I have no idea why, but I've seen that work over the last 45 years in some dogs, and it certainly wouldn't hurt. Do it for a month or a couple of weeks.
Well, we have not seen Dr. Kim because I'm the one who's in Utah with Dr. Kim.
Oh, good. We'll see Dr.
Just
Kim.
because we're rescue and we're poor.
Won't she do you occasional?
She might. I haven't asked yet. We were trying the conventional things with her.
No. Oh,
but we just had a visit with our intuitive last night, where the foster mom joined me on my appointment with Lydia Hibby. And Yuki is the dog. And she said, enough. This is just how I am. I don't mind wearing the diapers. I don't want any more surgery. I don't want any more anesthesia. I'm here. And this is how I am. And the foster mom is 1 in a million, and she adores her, and she's fine with the diapers. And so I now have to
So
go back to my team to figure out how to tell them that Yuki said she's fine and doesn't want to do anything else.
well, just be honest with them and let them know there's things out there they don't understand, but it could
They
work.
know me and we have had readings for two of our other dogs,
Good.
so I think they'll accept it. I just
Now,
wonder
the other thing is,
anything else to
well,
help her.
there is everything else. Okay?
That's my
Everything.
opinion. There's always something
So
more to.
there's emotional freedom technique, Eden energy medicine,
She
theta
told us
healing,
to try
quantum
tapping.
healing, Tellington tap, all of those, any one of those,
Okay.
Webb, Bankston method, any one of those. And they're not, and make sure when you're using them, given what she said, it's not for the urinary incontinence. It's for her general health.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
And that could make a big
Okay. She told us
uh,
she may have just come down before it was her time, and she considers herself a bucket of parts, and this is just how she is. She's here on borrowed time. She loves Anne. She
right.
wants to have a good life as many days as she can, but this is just how she is.
And I love that because, see, that's another reason to use animal communicators. They're not always right, by the way.
Yeah,
They
we've
really
worked
aren't. And
With Lydia for many years and were recommended by Dr. Kim. So
sure.
I do feel very
And
comfortable with
yeah,
her,
but
but
you
we've
never,
had some interesting folks too over the years.
right, absolutely. So take everything anybody says with a grain of salt, and your observation of your animals is what
Okay.
is really the most important thing. That's, you want to use all the resources that are out there, but definitely. Okay. So thank you, Erica.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for what you're doing. And Nancy said she's losing her sight. Dogs do great losing their sight. So frankly, I would say very important to start working with an animal communicator. And then she can find out what the anxiety is about, because if you're not anxious, she shouldn't be anxious about losing her sight. And make sure you don't move the furniture. Always do everything in the same place for the beginning. But I've seen dogs that, run around outdoors with no problem at all, occasionally bumping into something and just loving it, not mind being uh, blind at all. So, Chell, there is not a homeopathic remedy. As we've said repeatedly, you need to find the homeopathic medicine that matches. You're doing great to be managing him. And so what you want to look at, she does Reiki and reconnective healing, color therapy, and self-selection, letting the cat select what's needed, which is wonderful. The key thing here would be to be really tracking what's happening. Why does the constipation, why are there occasions when it's bad and he loses appetite? Track, because we're down to 3 minutes. So track, here you're doing the treatment, everything that changed, and then, ooh, everything's getting worse. Why? What's the context going on? What shifted? And do all your other healing to sort of figure that out. And it, again, may be good to check in with a animal communicator at that point. I think any of the earthing mats are good. Hopefully somebody else will comment on that. And remember, anybody who came new, if you came new, you can click on the chat and save this chat for the information that's in there. And then we also have, you'll be getting a recording of this as well. So Jenny said that her first dog was in diapers for the last 3 years of his life and was absolutely fine. Flower essences do not interfere or interact negatively with other supplements or medications. Any comment, Dr. Jeff, on the homeopathic question that Amy?
No, actually, it looked good. And, I did answer in the chat
Oh,
regarding
good.
the
Okay.
kidney question. Yeah,
Okay,
that
good.
would depend on the
Did it
context.
look to you like since she started eating again afterwards, it was probably maybe a good
It was
remedy?
probably going in the right direction,
Yep.
and especially because the kidney also resolved, and the
Right.
kidneys just manifestation of that same imbalance that affects the beam.
Absolutely. So keep watching early warning signs and the beam and using energy every day. And my goodness, we did it again.
You are amazing. Yes.
And so everybody who's here, if you ever feel like I'm cutting you off or I'm rushing past you, we're doing the best we can in an hour. And again, anybody who's on this call who knows a rescue, who knows a shelter, an official shelter, an official rescue is getting a really special deal, $7 for the month, being a member. And we're going to have a special shelter gathering of some sort. So please invite any of them that you know. The more shelters that are doing holistic, the better. I mean, Joan Ranquet does EFT at shelters in Michigan and Florida, and their adoption rate soars and the staff stress goes down. Reiki, Sarah, Shelter Animal Reiki Association has been doing Reiki from volunteers all over the world, and shelters are, again, staff is better and the animals are better. So definitely share all of that, and just have them go. What would they do? Just put in holistic action shelter, and that would
Yeah, that'll
get them to it. That'll get them to the page.
Yep.
All right, y'all.
All right.
See you at
Thank
Holistic
you all.
Action. See you if you want me for advice.
Yep.
See you next Friday,
Yep,
Friday
if
a
you
month.
remember and you have a question that we didn't address, just put it in the forum, or we'll see you on Monday and we can talk in the chat. Monday, we've got the beginning of our shelter month with, I believe, Kathy Mulligan talking about she's doing work with the Humane Society and communication in the shelter. So we will see you then on Monday or
And of
last
course,
Friday.
everything we're talking about with shelter is applying to your individual animals as well. So this isn't just for shelters. That's the focus that we're doing. But biomusic and Reiki and EFT, all of that applies for your animals as well. So, and for you in your life as well, just to remind you.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you for your time. We'll see you in June. Okay, bye-bye.